All right, now we're live. Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody. What's going on?
We're back.
Hey, it's been a while.
Wait a minute. We are back.
We're back, but we're new. Kind of weird.
Dude, I kind of feel like we're new, but I kind of feel like we're better.
Yeah.
Not like the proverbial like 2.0. I think that's just really lame. Everybody uses that.
Yeah.
I feel like we skipped that shit and went straight to 3.0. We're so good.
We're at 3.0.
Right. So why are we new?
So anyway, for those that don't know, and for those of you that are viewing us on YouTube,
welcome.
Welcome, yes. Andy, Chris, Gabe, Josh, from Brickyard Battalion, Andy and Chris from the Permanent Relegation Podcast. So anyway, what we're doing right now is we've been on a hiatus from our show. A lot of stuff going on with the holidays and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so basically we are...
life in
general. And so Josh and Gabe from the Brickyard Battalion approached us and said, hey, let's do a Brickyard Battalion Indy 11 podcast.
Well, Josh was in the middle of making a whole new soccer team himself. So he was like, he said, you know what, I want Indy 11 to be homegrown,
yes,
and I'm going to get started with the future generation right now.
Yeah. Multiple children at any given
time. Yes, multiple children. Yeah, so he's got his own soccer team. But for some reason, I don't know if you guys were just drinking a bunch when you decided to ask us for some reason to be the voice of the Brickyard Battalion. We've had you guys on before in a previous episode of Permanent Relegation. We've got tons to talk about. We are live at the beautiful Chatham Tap in Fishers, Indiana. We are extremely excited to be able to do this. It's been something that, especially the live aspect, that Chris and I have been wanting to do for a while.
Dude, these guys made it happen.
They did make it
literally
happen.
Today, this dude ran out and just hooked us up. I mean,
yes,
like, this is craziness. Like, when you, I'm on the way up here, and you're like, yeah, so just got a camera. And I was like, wait, what? And so when I get here, I'm like, so we're using a laptop? No, there's really a camera sitting over there. I'm like, this is top notch. Now we're a top classy show.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't go that far.
We didn't change.
I was gonna say, wouldn't go that far. Yeah, Gabe, you want something to drink? And of course, you'll know the people that have listened to us or are followers of our podcast. We will take occasional short breaks to get more.
But now they will see these short breaks, yes, so we don't have to explain it.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So anyway, Chatham Tap and Fishers. If you've ever been to either the one downtown or here, a huge soccer haven.
Yes.
They have the BPL matches every Saturday and Sunday. They're going to have MLS matches as well, Champions League matches, all that kind of stuff. This Saturday, I got a little paper here that's got all the information on it. The key marquees, the marquee games. Arsenal-Chelsea is at 8:45 on Saturday. Cardiff and Liverpool at 11. West Ham and United at 1:30. I'll not watch that because I'd rather not want to. I'm a masochist apparently. And then Sunday at 9:30 is Tottenham and Southampton. Of course, you can follow them on Twitter at Fishers Chatham or on Facebook for Chatham Tap Fishers. And then MLS games are going to be going on Saturday pretty much all day. So if you just want to pop a squad on Saturday, watch BPL in the morning and then MLS all afternoon and just kind of hang out here. They might even set up a bed for you.
Is this a family show? Because I'd say just like avoid your wife and kids or avoid your husband and kids.
Sure.
I guess, hey.
Sure.
It's fair.
Actually,
Let's
get a lot more of those. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
But ladies, seriously. The ladies.
Oh, the ladies.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, we're going to be, throughout the season, we're going to be, for Indy 11, of course, we're going to be talking about, the games, previewing games, going back and reviewing games, being either happy or sad.
Depending on results, absolutely.
Right.
Expectations are high by default. So.
We'll be doing giveaways as well. So make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, that you follow us and Brickyard Battalion on Twitter, at PR Podcast Show, and then at the_BYB for all the Brickyard Battalion updates. Of course, follow Indy 11.
By default.
Who are
That's
those
by
guys?
default.
Wait,
right?
Is that why we're doing this?
But we'll have giveaways. Chatham Tap's going to even bring some stuff to the table to give away as well. So it's going to be really important for you guys to be interactive with our show, even more so than we were in the past.
I think what's really, really important to kind of set this off, and what we really need to make known, is from the last time we had you guys on the show, how much has changed. I mean, like all the ideas in kind of the dream that you guys had with kind of getting this going, I don't think it's much of a leap to say that this has really already kind of surpassed a lot of what you had hoped. I mean, already to max out at 8,000 season ticket holders before you play your first game, before you fully have your team to be fully done, and then to have the fanfare that you do, that now even all your local media has joined on. You have a lot of people talking about the people I have in my field and working in the wireless communications industry. I have people coming in that talk about Indy 11. I have Indy 11 stuff on pins and stuff, and they go, "Oh, I've heard about them. They're really awesome. I heard they're going to be doing big things. Do you know how I get tickets?" And I reference them off. And I would say, how do you guys feel about this now? From where we talked to, what was that, July, August?
I mean, I almost speak for Gabe, but I feel an immense sense of responsibility, I guess is the best way to put it.
Why,
because
Spider-Man?
I know. I'm not trying to make myself sound like some kind of superhero, but I think with all the work that's been put into this thus far, I mean, I feel this ultra sense of responsibility to deliver a product from a supporter standpoint that rivals what other countries and other cities are doing throughout the United States. And I say countries because I look at the EPLs, obviously the prime example of the way supporters groups potentially could be run and the kind of passion you have as a fan. Is by chance, you are outnumbered, but it's 3 United fans sit at the table. And it's always like to point that out to you. I just want to make sure, in the case at any point in time, we all know that Man United looks beautiful in the middle of the table. We're aware of that right now. So that's neither here nor there in regards to tonight's conversation. But I know you want to take a pot shot. That's fine, and I respect that.
This is just one season you guys are down. I mean, it's fine.
Remember, he's a Real Madrid guy.
Yeah.
So he's got
his own ebbs and flows, if you will.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, exactly.
So respectfully, so I'm going to speak for Gabe and all the guys in the battalion, but I feel this ultimate responsibility to all these battalion members who've kind of gone on this journey with us and figured out where we're going to go next as a supporters group. And we want to deliver a product that's that they deserve, because I said as soccer fans in Indiana, we've been necessarily neglected, but we haven't had an outlet, and now we have an outlet. And now it figures out what do we do with it moving forward. So Gabe, what do you think?
I can't really remember where we were at that point as far as membership.
So when we first last met,
I think we're at about 500 if I remember.
It was really low, and the fact that Popper was here and wasn't even a member yet.
Oh my God!
I forgot about that.
Hey,
that's why he's
we
not
ditched
here
that
right
bum. I'm looking at you, Popper. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know if he's one of our. We're almost at 10 viewers on the YouTube.com/Permanent Relegation.
It's success, guys.
We went down to 9. I guess giving a shout out to the YouTube people wasn't a good idea, so I'll never do that again.
So I mean, no, you're right.
Yeah, I think we were at about 500, and early on, I think we were at about 200 members or something, and we thought, well, we've got to come up with expectations. Right? I think we're at 200. And we're at 317 when the team got announced, because that was the 317 number came in. And we thought, well, we got to set expectations and goals of what we want to hit, and every month we were doubling it. So we had to, we eventually had to just say, okay, look, this is not even realistic anymore. We're a year ahead of where, so we reset expectations, and we're still beating it. So I think we're at about 2,500 members right now, and we haven't even played the first game. So that's going to be a big part. I see our membership growing like crazy once we get, I don't know if either of you were at the Westfield game. I know that
I was.
No, I was in Mexico, sorry. I was out of the country.
While we were all bundled up, he was basically kicking back on a beach.
It was 87 degrees, and I still have my scarf. How about that?
That's good work.
Just because, but you know what? They respect that down there. They're like, you look like an idiot, but at the same time, that's kind of cool. You know what that's for. So.
Speaking of scarves,
yes.
A quick side shoot. I want to show the scarf. This
is Gabe's scarf, so you're welcome to show it. So
Gabe's scarf.
It's a prototype.
This is the new one, right? The prototype of the new one.
This is the gold membership.
So this is the gold member. So how do they get this?
Well, gold membership is closed for the spring season. We're gonna reopen it in the fall. It's $35 for season ticket holders and $45 for non-season ticket holders.
Okay.
And
pretty cool.
All the benefits are listed online, but the main ones are the scarf, special team access, also a autograph card of one of the players.
Nice.
And then some one-on-one time. Like this summer will be some World Cup games. Get a watch with some of the players.
Oh, that's cool.
We're working on an open practice where gold members can go watch practice and kind of just kind of listen in, and trying to do some different things like that to give, because it's hard to get specific team access. We can go to the team events, but other than the team events, so basically the cost is just to cover what you get. So the scarves and the cards, and then you'll get a physical membership card, which those are coming in I think this week, and then those will all be sent out. So that's kind of was something we thought would be year 2 or year 3.
Right.
That we just thought, well, shit, let's just go for it.
Right.
And we went for it. So we have about 400 paid members.
Wow.
Which is
That's
way
basically
beyond our
the same amount of free members you had when we came on the show the first time.
It's crazy to think that. So
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
And I think that number will grow.
Yeah.
Like as I mentioned, the Westfield game, we had maybe 35, 40 guys in the section cheering, and I heard countless people afterwards asking who those guys were, how can we get involved.
Yeah.
And
People always kind of flock towards the
35,
crazies.
40, right?
Right, yeah.
Wait till it's 2,000.
Especially when these 35 or 40 people were singing and chanting nonstop the entire game.
And that's what you kind of hope. I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about this also when they came, what kind of atmosphere we wanted. So, I mean, we're 3 weeks away from, a big day, from the biggest day. Of your whole
and I don't have if I'm going to feel that day, because what I've been trying to tell people is that
it's like the birth of a child.
I think Gabe and I that day
Or 2.
Well,
Okay,
or 2 if you had
No.
twins.
Yeah.
What I was trying to, Gabe and I were actually talking about is like that first game. I almost want to sit back and observe. I almost want to observe behaviors, trends, where people park, what are the traffic flows like? Because I think how do we deliver an even better fan experience based on what we think will be the experience when we go to the stadium.
Right.
So there's a lot of responsibility that day. I think it's going to be a lot of trial and error, and I hope people are being patient with us in regards to what the ultimate product will look like.
Right.
Because I don't think we even know what we're getting ourselves into in some way, shape,
Dude,
or form.
I honestly don't either. Like, I'm thinking about when I go down there, I'm like, I don't even know where the hell I'm going.
And
I know how to get down there. I've been to, obviously, Carroll, but I'm just going, the hell do I
Well, and
do?
the thing too, and that's one of the things that I even saw the
Indy 11
put out said, hey,
For-
we're gonna for all
parking.
the season ticket holders, we're gonna go ahead and let you know where to park, give you an idea of
season ticket parking.
all
They
that
have.
kind of stuff. What do we got?
So I want to give a quick shout out. The guys that are listening. One of the guys is Paul from the Flight 19 crew and tailgate show down in Fort Lauderdale, the Striker crew. So I want to give a shout out to those guys, because eventually we'll have them on as part of this podcast as well. It's good to be part of that larger NASL group. Give a little bit of love down there. We love you guys every week except for when we play it. So
Exactly. Everybody's gonna be friends until the game day.
Remember, obviously, we're taking live tweets as well since we're live. So if you
Yeah.
want to tweet using hashtag
BYBcast.
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 So
if you
have
can ask a
questions-
question, if you have you want to know information about the
If
season,
you want to know
about
why Gabe
membership,
is so sexy,
tough questions to answer in one sitting.
That is,
I know.
that goes without
Just the
saying.
closest game.
yeah, exactly. He's got good lighting.
We're actually blocking Josh a little bit.
There's a good reason for
But he
that.
has this glow. He has this glow
I don't-
on
I
his
don't
face.
need it.
Yes.
I don't need
No,
it.
you're fine.
Worst. Actually, Josh right now kind of looks like worst podcast ever. So, anyways.
So we've got, and that's one of the things too that you what was it? Channel 8 was there on Saturday, recording everything.
And because of the WNDY relationship there, that's a Stone IPA.
Oh.
It's very tasty.
And it's
Yes, sir.
very
Yeah.
tasty.
Very true. Sir, that does not go well on this podcast.
I know. It doesn't. So the thing to point out too is, WNDY is a partner, so they'll be broadcasting all the home games live as they happen. Which, if you think about it, just where we've gone from a media standpoint, I know this podcast is a good example of that from a soccer standpoint. The great part about this podcast, in particular with you guys being involved with this, is that Indiana soccer as a whole will have a voice where before it didn't. So if you guys want to talk about, again, the things I think we'll probably tackle on this show as a whole will be, soccer's past here in Indiana. The guys who used to play for the Twisters, the guys who used to play for the Firebirds, the guys who used to play for all these teams that used to exist in the city, and get them to come in and talk about their playing experiences in their 70s and 80s and 90s, I guess, in regards to pro soccer before.
And they really put it out there, and they dealt with the struggle of.
They got abused, is what
They
happened.
did.
They're like, "Oh, you're gonna fold this franchise? Oh, that sounds great."
Yeah, and that's
And
one of
I
the things
sacrificed.
that
The blast, the blaze,
people don't
these
know
guys,
is
so
that there's been 11 previous soccer teams that have tried to play in Indianapolis or have played in Indianapolis that have, just kind of fizzled out, and now this is the 12th or 13th, I think.
But I'm going to go into we actually got a live tweet that came in, and I'm going to read this in a second. But I think that's kind of it's a big point that we bring up here because it's really a microcosm of what's happened in Indianapolis. Easily, you could say in the last 10 years, but even in the last 5 to 7 years, Indianapolis, and there's quite a few really great articles that have been written even national level wise talking about Indianapolis, how it's not a city anymore where people talk about, yeah, I'm from Indianapolis, I'm sorry, and apologize for being here, that there's so many incredible restaurants, breweries, there's things to do now, there's events, you have teams that are successful, you have one of the best convention centers that you can do. We do an incredible job of hosting. We nailed the fucking Super Bowl. We nailed it. Yep. I mean, period. Granted, having 50-degree weather in February.
Right. If it was this year, everybody would just be like, ugh.
Did a great job because you still have a city that's, if you take just Indianapolis by itself, is still 800,000 people, not quite 1 million, but feels bigger at times, but still has such a good smaller town feel because, you can get to anywhere you want to, but there's such little micro from down in Fountain Square.
Yep.
Through the whole downtown area. Everything that they've kind of gone through, Fisher's is really blown up, and you're starting to get a lot of. You don't just get chains. For the longest time, Indianapolis, like Muncie and Anderson, was like, "Hey, you want to start a chain, or you want to see how a chain's doing?"
Well, we were a chain testing state.
Yeah,
so for the most part, that's why you had such a large majority of chains.
And look how this has changed now. You have so many great little locally grown ones, or little just individual mom and pop places that are busting up, in just a very eclectic view now, kind of, and I think that's coming with the younger generation as well, and I think you just have a different group of people that have come in. So this is huge. I think this is the time, if any, for Indy 11 to be successful, to be that team. So, kind of in that, to be original, kind of tying into.
Oh,
that. There you go.
Well, you've been. Oh. This isn't our first rodeo.
I just long hauled you into that one. So, all right. So we have a tweet from Logan Lane at Log Lane. He wants to know Log Lane?
I don't know.
Sure, whatever.
I'm sure it's short for Logan. It's a word called
Log Lane.
I'm gonna go Log Lane.
Thanks.
You go Log Lane. You could. No offense.
Like Frogger. Like Frogger had the lane of logs that you had to jump. Okay.
Anyways, Andy, you're done. Andy, go home. You're drunk.
Okay. Actually, I'm not.
How important will using original chants, songs at matches? Well, how important will using be at matches? I think it's super important to set us aside from others. So, we kind of talked about that when you guys came on, and we were talking about in Seattle how they have, and so how important is that? I'm going to leave that to you guys because I know you guys have had.
Gabe and I can both talk about this. We were at the game this past Saturday, and we actually get and
there's the whole list.
Capo's got a nice show to test a lot of these things out. So Gabe, go ahead.
Well, I think I kind of have two thoughts on this. One, I think it is super important to have your own chants that kind of set you aside and become yours, right? Because you want to have original chants. A lot of that will be player-driven, so songs about specific players and things like that.
Yep.
Things that happen in the city, the team. But I also think it's pretty important to take songs that are well known already, and just tweak them for your team. The reason I think that is because there's going to be 10,000+ other people there that aren't part of the Brickyard Battalion section, and those people. Getting those people involved will enhance the whole experience. So if we can get those people involved and chants that can be picked up really easily, I think that will be a huge win for the team and for us because I think everyone will want to be involved. People were leaving the game singing the Chris Way song we were doing,
Yeah, that one was awesome.
And so, Chris is a local guy.
Yeah.
Love to see him get some minutes. Any kind of local guy.
Right.
We want to see the team do well, but I think it's incredibly important to get that experience for the entire crowd, not just our section be, strictly on original.
You don't want to look
songs.
elitist. You don't want to look like, oh, well, if you're not over here and you don't know these chants, then what are you doing here? Right. So really, if we can get a lot of Shaba ranks and just yell out to Baba and go, hey, I got a lot of Shaba ranks here for you, Baba. No, so anyways.
It needs to be like an organic
so Hollow Notes.
Transition
and
lots of Hollow
Notes. We did have a lot of stuff that's kind of on the fly did happen from a chance standpoint that was actually really entertaining. But that's part of the camaraderie of everybody in the stands. And I think we learned a lot about what we can and can't do, if you will, from based on our experience this past weekend and realizing the kind of fans that we're expecting from a behavior-wise from our battalion as a whole. I noted to some folks today on social media.
Like
it'll mean
failed?
Well, curse words don't go over as well as you possibly would think they would.
So you mean this is in England?
It's not England,
Oh.
and granted we were at a high school, and
there's that. Well, there is that.
and and so and the stands are a little closer together. So when we sit in our own section, a lot of those curse words I think that would be used would be basically garbled out to a larger group. They'd be like, what did that group say? I can't understand. Did they say? I just don't understand what they're saying.
Are they singing about spit?
I mean,
That's crazy.
they're not, I mean, and so we said to be cognizant too. Like I say all the time, and I don't want to like the old man of the group, but families are what's going to drive this team and the success of this team longevity in regards to bodies and butts in the seats. Right. So I always keep that in the back of my mind, regardless as much as if I fueled by my products, if you will, that I sell for a living. Though I'm fueled by those, I want to make decisions that will be reflective of the larger group, and obviously make sure that there's fans that come back every week. They're not turned off by the experience. So it's hard. It's a tough as a fan. It's a tough tightrope to walk. So
yeah, and thanks to Logan for the question. If you do have questions on Twitter, hashtag BYBcast. Make sure that you're tweeting us or tweeting the Brickyard Battalion with your questions, because we're checking. Obviously, as you can see, we're checking the internet as we speak right now.
Right. And I'm not sure if all 10 can just get a Twitter or a question at the same time. It's just, all 10 of you have to fight.
Right,
so,
right. And
you have our attention.
And those 10 people, make sure you're tweeting and putting on Facebook that you're watching this right now. Put the information
guys,
out.
You're not going to believe what's happening on there. There's like dinosaurs with lasers, and there's exploding shit, and it's amazing. So
just tell them you're watching Die Hard with a Vengeance is playing on YouTube / Permanent Relegation, and then when they get here, they're going to be trapped anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah, we've already decided that we put a Trojan. Oh, and let's not talk about putting Trojan horses in anybody. Wait,
kind of piggybacking off the fan interaction as well, and this is definitely one of the things that you and I have talked about already, and I've kind of sucked into supporting the team so much that I'm getting into flame wars on social media, and I know that you guys. You've commented before. I'm not sure if have you done that as well. Like when there's like an Indie Star article.
Well,
or
you're a
something
natural troll.
I am a natural troll.
So,
but I'm on board with you because especially
yes.
A lot of the articles on Indie Star. I mean, some of them were very favorable actually, and a couple of them were kind of scathing to a degree. Not necessarily the article itself, but some of the comments were really scathing. And it's kind of hard to be. It's hard to wear these shoes sometimes because we're all soccer supporters and we've been beat up for a long time, and I guess I have a direct appreciation for 1070 the Fan for coming on as a supporter of the soccer program. And same as NDY.
We'll talk to that as well.
And we'll talk to that a little bit in terms of our relationship with that. But I'm very appreciative of that because that's a national media platform not taking soccer as a joke, but treating it as a sport. And what I encouraged them to do, and my conversation with them was to make sure they include that when there's big games, that they include those results in the breaks as well. It's not about the NFL and the NBA, but make sure if there's an EPL game that day, talk about those scores as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll stick, but that's what we want to see moving forward, hopefully. So change the vernacular of soccer in Indiana. So
well, and that's the big thing too, is that these people. A lot of times, the people that do comment on an Indie Star article or an article or a video that's been posted on social media or anything like that, they're just getting out there to get a rile on somebody. Like, well, soccer's stupid. Why do we need to build a new stadium when nobody watches soccer in America anyway?
Right, it's America.
It's America. So
Colts
and that's
Coats. Go Coats.
Go Coats.
Go Coats.
Indianapolis Coats.
The Coats.
Yes.
Right. Anyway.
But and I mean we love the other teams here as well. It's just a matter of
it's a collective. If you were to ask any of those guys, and I'll be real honest. I know some people in both those organizations, and I will tell you that bringing another sport here on a professional level is huge. People talk about, is there going to be enough of a base of fans to be able to support multiple teams? Absolutely there is. Hello, there's 800,000 people. Not one stadium can hold 800,000 people at one time, the last I checked. But you have a giant influx of a diverse population that's come to Indianapolis, especially in the last decade. This is massive. That is also the reason why you have a big proposition to put in cricket.
I know, all things,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Why? Because there's a giant influx in population from India. There's a huge Latino influx of population, which makes this city very dynamic. This is huge. I mean, we can absolutely support this. And you hear people from the other organizations, and they'll tell you, no, we're really excited to have another major sport here. Because it kind of gives, I mean, really, it's an all-year-round thing going on here. You don't really just have a dead period in Indianapolis. You really can get stuff going on. So, what are you seeing over here, Andrew?
I'm just trying to basically push out as much as possible so we can get this thing going as smoothly as possible. Just because it's one of those things where, especially with social media right now, you've got a lot of people that are just sitting at home that want to listen to it or want to be a part of it. So it's just a matter of tweeting out, trying to make sure that people are listening and all that kind of stuff too. So anyway, the thing that I'm talking about in terms of like what kind of things are is Brickyard Battalion doing to reach outside of the hardcore fans, other than trying to get that interaction during the games? Are you guys like, what kind of events do you guys have planned? What kind of things are you thinking about doing in order to garner more interest, not only to the team but to your organization as well?
Well, currently we've done a bunch of events like at Chatham Tap at both places, Fisher's in downtown. Union Jacks has been a huge partner for us. We've held tons of events there. We've gained tons of members from that location. But we're really just trying to tap into the soccer community. So it's clubs. We're getting involved with clubs. We have these little postcards. I mean, they're not postcards. They're 2x3, like note card type informational. We leave everywhere. They're at Off the Wall. They're at all the indoor places. We leave them at businesses. We leave them, anyone that's interested in soccer, we're trying to get them involved. The other thing is, early on, a concept was kind of decided that we were going to move forward with of affiliates. So the thought was, there's no way everyone in Indianapolis can reach everyone in the state that we want to be a part of the Brickyard Battalion. And so a big part of that was, okay, let's get affiliates on board where they can then reach out to their local people, establish a place to watch soccer together. And then just a bunch of like-minded people getting together, whether it's watching EPL on the weekends, hopefully watching Indy 11 if they're not close to here and they're they can watch it on TV.
Right.
Just trying to get those people involved. That's been a bit of a challenge just because there's not been a game yet. I mean, I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Once April 12th hits, I'm not sure that we're actually ready for it. I mean, there's just no way to know what to expect.
Right.
Right. And so I think not knowing what to expect leaves you a little bit anxious just because you're not sure. I mean, it could double, Yeah. I mean, it could double in a month. You just have no idea.
I think people's level of engagement will change and level of involvement. I think right now there's a hardcore group of us as a whole that are doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but come April 12th, when people see the level of experience they'll probably gain out of the Brickyard Battalion section in particular, and the level of experience we're trying to create for folks, that I think we'll get people come out of the woodwork for the most part and try to contribute more to the larger group. That's what we hope to see happen, because we have these gold members. We have folks that are really invested in what we're trying to get done. We're trying to activate them, right? So, I mean, this is what the podcast is for. This is what the things we're trying to get done, is to activate these people to say, you have extra minutes. I'd like for you to spend them with us and contribute to the larger group.
Right.
Because the ideal for me, from a Brickyard Battalion standpoint, is that we are the supporters group. We have the ideal of all supporters group across the country. So they're like, wow, those guys get it. And so that puts Indiana on the map. Back to you were saying earlier about how great our city is. It makes us look better as a city. Because if you think about it this way, I've been a Colts season ticket holder for 10 years. You don't have this experience. When you go to a Colts game, you go as an individual, you go have a good time, you cheer, you might cheer. Some people sit and read the newspaper, whatever, right? But you're not an active, engaged fan. Some are, some aren't. You have a choice. But in soccer games, you're engaged. And so how do we get that?
They literally have to say in the middle of those, for another Colts first down. They have to get things going so that people kind of go, oh, that's all of us together. Let's do that.
This is our turn. And soccer is just such an organic thing that I want to make sure that what we do it right and we do it well. And it takes everyone moving together. You can't have segmentation or it just doesn't work.
Right.
I mean, you have everyone moving together towards one specific goal, and I think for the most part we've had that. It's been a joy to be a part of it. I tell you what, it's been a lot of sleepless nights too. So, as Gabe will tell you, I mean, we got a lot of work left to do between now and April 12th. So,
and obviously for those that are for some reason listening and don't know, April 12th is the first home game for Indy 11.
It is
at 7:30. Single tickets are still available.
How do I get those tickets, guys?
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. if I totally screwed up my life and I didn't get the season tickets, Alex Popper, because he's just gonna try to bite off mine
and mine.
That's true. But I need him too, so that's good.
Yeah.
How do I go get just single season or single game tickets?
They're for sale for now.
Right.
I mean, we know that through
Right.
Indy11.com. You can obviously register and get single season tickets
what?
went on sale.
Indy11.com. Okay, so
and 11 is not the
Indy11.com.
number, but it's
Right.
ELEVEN. So
Indy11.com.
So I know for those of
One
you.
more time for this. 1-800-19.
Right. I mean, the
We're
single
about to give out the Verizon Wireless customer service number.
Oh my God!
it's ingrained in your head. The idea is that the first season game is nearly sold out. We know that for a fact from talking to the team.
Awesome. That is great.
And really, that will set the tone for the rest of the season. My hope is that those fans who only bought the single ticket that time then make that commitment moving forward. That that's something they want to be a part of full time.
Right.
But also, you talk about the things that are happening between now and that game, right?
Right.
So we have quite a
Do
few
it.
things going on between now and then. So this coming weekend, March 22nd, we have an away trip to Louisville. So we're playing at University of Louisville. I think it's a 7 o'clock start, if I remember correctly. We are putting together a bus. This may not, if those of you that are, 9 of you, probably, another 9 of you watching, probably 2 of you are probably going already. But, we do get a 30-passenger bus. We're trying to get full as soon as possible at $30 a head. If not, I mean, so obviously we'll just do it or go to a carpool scenario. And we have obviously the game against the Chicago Fire. I'm trying to think what day that game is now.
Isn't it April 1st?
That's the April 1st game. So
And that's
it's a
remember because
Tuesday.
originally when it came out, I was like, really? Is that an April Fool's joke? Like we're playing the Chicago Fire? Come on.
in West
You know, like,
Lafayette.
yeah.
So we thought about trying to do a bus for that one if we could, but we think that might be close enough for us to be able to carpool as a group. And then lastly, April 1st against IU. So I mean, we at Carroll. So we have quite a few different games we got to get ready for as well. Granted, we won't show all our cards until April 12th, but we want to make sure the team knows we're there to support them. We got some great tweets following the game there in Westfield from the team, letting them know that they definitely heard us as part of the support group. So it was really cool to have that interaction with the fans. So.
And speaking of the team's interaction with you guys, when we talked last year, there wasn't, you had the higher ups that were basically interacting with you guys, but you didn't have. There was no team yet.
Right.
There was no players.
There was no coach.
Yeah, there was no coach yet.
There was a-
And
right.
so it was basically just Peter Wilt and a few of the front office folks.
Peter, Tom, Molly.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been it at that point.
Guijo was
you're
on,
right.
wasn't
Guijo,
he?
Guijo
Yeah,
was
on.
on?
Come on,
Yeah. And so it was.
Shout
We
out
did
to you,
another
Guijo.
Molly Kruger reference.
Yeah.
We cannot escape one episode without a.
Yeah, right.
That's for you, lady. Anyways.
But yeah, you guys had that interaction with the front office, and I know the big thing too was you guys had the whole thing of every time a new player got introduced, they obviously became a member of the Brickyard Battalion, and you kind of made a big deal about that too. What kind of feedback have you gotten from players?
Yeah.
It's funny.
With the supporter groups.
So I should mention really quick that we have a great relationship with our friends at Flat 12 Brewery. Flat 12.
I wasn't ready to go there yet, but
I
yes,
am.
let's do it.
I am. I said these guys are a fantastic group of folks who really started to really get and understand the business as a whole, and what we're trying to get accomplished. So at the Flat 12 event, in regards to the announcement of new players, one of the players actually came to me and said, "Hey, I don't have a battalion scarf yet. I'd like to be involved." And so we made sure we got him and his father one actually. So great group of folks at Flat 12 getting us some support. And you guys know you have a fan of Flat 12 as well.
Shout out to Rob.
Love Rob.
Rob's been on the
is
show.
a genius.
Rob, the Ray Liotta of the beer world.
He is
dude.
really the very world.
That
And a
dude-
fantastic human being, I might add. Who
yeah.
I owe a bottle
dude
of rum to, sir.
that-
If you're
that
listening,
dude is,
I'm aware.
that dude is one of the most interesting cats I've ever met. And he was on. I feel kind of bad because when he came on the show, I think he had said he was like on a 12 and a half, 13-hour day or something. He was on something
Most
long
of them were.
stretch,
Clay
man.
was too.
And he came on and he showed up late and he's like, "I'm so sorry." He's like, I barely know where I am right now, just because he's working. I mean, they got some new stuff, and right now Flat 12 is really aggressive. I have to say, I love how aggressive they've been on just coming out with some really inventive stuff. And when I heard that, you know what, Flat 12 Indy 11, That sounds perfect because, again, very, very grassroots. You have people that are thinking a little different. How can we do things that nobody else has done? How can we make this bigger than anybody's done? But at the same time, not exclude people. And I think that's the difference. You want to get big and you want everybody to hear about it, but you don't want to have like the little guy that was like, yeah, I've been here from the beginning. Where are you, man? Like, I remember my guys, and now they don't even remember that I even exist. And that's so hard to do because it's a weird duality where it's,
agreed.
You know, like it's the hugeness of it versus we want to stay grounded. So I mean, you guys have had to put something in this, a contingency, if you will. I mean, how do you plan on it? What if this explodes? Let me give you that. What if
the
this
Flat 12
explodes?
thing? I mean, we hope it does explode for them. Because what we're trying to do is drive traffic to their website. We want people to know Flat 12 and support of soccer in Indiana. I mean, what they're doing is unprecedented. So, I mean, and the research that we had done with Bob Weaver and my friends at Flat 12, where we sat down and talked about, really, what is the relationship between beer in particular and supporters clubs? And we found DC United had a relationship, and we think Portland had a relationship. But really, across the country, wasn't anything going on with that. We think as a whole we're going to take it to another level. I don't want to tease everything we're going to do moving forward. But the idea session we had sitting down with Indy 11, ourselves, and Flat 12, I think will blow people's minds in terms of things that are come up in this coming year.
And we talked
come
about
up to the World Cup. I mean, there's some amazing things we're going to get done. And I said much kudos to those guys for being visionaries and really trying to go on this journey with us, because I said the negotiation was great. It's like, what are we going to get done? It's like everything. We're going to do everything we possibly can to work together. So, I mean, those guys have been great to work with so far.
I'm going to get some flack over this, but I'm pretty sure I threw this out to the local breweries as we had them on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you feel about local affiliation with somebody maybe smaller, like Indy 11 or something? Him haul. And it's just really awesome. So it's really good that that you had a company kind of take that up and kind of run with it. So
and that was, kind of leads into another question that I wanted to ask was obviously you had the struggles before the team was even here of getting any kind of corporate support, small, medium, or large businesses. It's like, you mentioned it when you were here last week. It was like, hey, we're from the Brickyard Battalion. First off, people were like, who? Mm-hmm. And then secondly, we're trying to get a soccer team. Why?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
and you know what? I give a lot of credit to Indy 11 for. I mean, Indy 11 does a nice job. I don't know if it's self-serving to a degree, but they give us a lot of credit for the work that's been done here. Like I said before, in the previous podcast, you guys are all welcome back and listen to. Obviously, with Gabe and I were on. But if you really want to listen, that much time spent dribbling over soccer, but.
And getting really drunk.
Yeah, that time that we really
drinking
were.
a bunch of triples at the Bruges.
At the Bruges, but and Gabe, I think, didn't account for this as well. I mean,
Gabe,
that was
I'm gonna just throw something out here real quick, because Gabe is like the proverbial Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde here, because this dude, he seems very calm. He's got a great demeanor. He's got a really kind of dry sense of humor. But he's really, really funny, because if you ever see his tweets, or if you ever have somebody come by, like, some of the stuff he messages me, dude, literally you crack me up with some of the stuff you do. Like, it's on the verge of creepiness, but at the same time I get it, so I just die laughing.
We were actually surprised that Gabe didn't show up immediately after
at my house. Right, exactly. I was waiting for him to be there, and Annalise going, hey, by the way, some guy, Gabe, is here to pick you up. He was at the front window going, hello.
I was there.
I was across the street.
So...
Episode 13 for those that are wanting to know. Episode 13 at Permanent Relegation.
What was the date?
June 21st.
June 21st. So,
wow. That's been that long?
Dude.
That's crazy if you think about it.
It is, right? So you get a couple drinks in this guy, though, and this guy just lit up, talking about stuff, and that's kind of what happens. But dude, wait a minute. So June 21st. So the solstice. I had to do it. I had to talk about it anyway.
Really?
Yes, the solstice.
So anyway, back to the question.
Hey.
What kind of changes have you seen since June 21st?
The solstice.
Until now.
Well, the sun got shorter. It was crazy.
They got cold.
The science, and there's some winter.
Polar vortex.
People had birthdays.
I think one of the biggest things is the way Indy 11, I mean, if you've been to an event in Indianapolis in the last 6 months, you've probably seen Indy 11 there. The way they've marketed and the way they have just been at every single event has made our job a lot easier. I mean, before they were here, it was a lot of pedal pushing, you know what I mean? And now it's I mean, it's not easy by any means to try to get to where we want to go, but it's a lot easier. I mean, everyone has heard of Indy 11, so as soon as you say, we're the Brickyard Battalion, they say who, you say the supporters group for Indy 11, then they instantly know who you are.
Right.
I mean, they've either heard of you or they know who Indy 11 is. So
I agree.
That's a big thing for us. I mean, that's a huge foot in the door when we're trying to get a hold of people who have no idea who we are. And that's a ton of people still. There's a ton of people still to reach.
Right.
What are the reactions that you do get when you actually sit down with somebody and start to explain, okay, this is where we started, this is where we're at now, these are the people that like us, this is the support we get from the team? Do you get that eye-opening, like, oh my?
You better
goodness,
wash your hands, you son of a no.
Oh, all right. Well, okay. I'm glad Gabe was blocking his view for that one.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the biggest thing is as soon as we tell them we have 2,500 members, before we even start talking about Indy 11, instantly they're like, okay, you have a lot more things going on than I thought. You know what I mean? And so when we had initially went and pitched this thing of, hey, will you give a discount to our members? I think we had like 400 members, or maybe not even that at that point. And so we were really fighting to try to get anything at that point. And we would have been lucky to get one restaurant at 10% discount or whatever. Well, we had Union Jack jump on board right away with a 20% discount, and then we had a couple other restaurants jump on board, like Canal Bistro and
so anybody who's BYB
Rockable.
Member can use these? If you have
absolutely.
your card, you bring your card.
Yeah, even on your phone. It's a digital card.
There we go. That's what I want to talk about. So that's my field. So literally I can have that card on my phone. Okay, so
absolutely.
How do I get the digital copy of that? I mean, how is it digitally on my phone?
BrickyardBattalion.com/membership.
Okay, and it just brings up my card. It's not like an app or anything. You guys don't have an app yet?
So it'll working on that.
We're non-for-profit, sir. App development costs dollars. Last I checked.
Yeah.
One day we aspire to have an application such as things.
We'll work on that with this podcast.
I like it. I like it.
Yes. Okay.
If we can get cameras of this quality, we can build applications.
Hang on. Here's looking at you, local app developers. Android, iOS. I'm looking at you. Let's do this. Remember, the Google SDK is free. Let's do this. All right.
Well then.
That was language I don't even speak. So
hey, don't worry.
So you speak some Klingon while you're at it?
Actually,
buddy?
I don't even think it's free anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Either way. But yeah, that was the biggest thing, is trying to get people on board initially. Well, now I was at the Elbow Room downtown yesterday, and Rick Lux, who owns that, and
I was there on St. Patrick's Day.
Plate.
It's funny you said
Nickel
that.
Plate. Yeah.
He owns about 5 restaurants. Well, I was talking to him, and he's like, "How can we get you guys here?" So that's the kind of reactions we're getting now. And he's like, "How can I turn this into a soccer bar?" And there's more bars and more places around the Blind
They fill
Pig on the
seats,
south
dude. They
side.
buy stuff. They buy a lot of beer. They buy a lot of food, and they bring an atmosphere.
Well,
so you're right.
and they've seen what it's already done, right?
Yeah.
I mean, selling 12,000 tickets for the opening day, selling 7,000 season tickets 5 or 6 months before your first game. I mean, that speaks volumes to business owners.
Right.
They're not stupid.
I mean, how many of you guys, too, also have friends that still have not jumped on board? I have guys I grew up with playing soccer with who are like, I just haven't got my tickets yet. I'm like, everybody's got friends like that, right?
Here's looking at you.
Yeah, the guy
Sorry,
who
Popper.
the guy who would be traded from
for a bag of cones.
No, it was
two cones
and a bag of balls.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, Popper.
Coach Summer said that anybody who roots for Brazil but was born in the United States.
Well, just specifically Popper, he's like, so what do you think I could get? He's like, well, if I was going to trade you,
I'd
probably trade you for 2 balls and a bag of cones. Or no, 2 cones and a bag of balls.
Yes. And then Popper added, and a pile of dirty pennies.
Also works.
Yes, exactly.
Also works.
Oh,
so yeah, I just want to throw back. If you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure that you could tweet us hashtag BYBcast for any kind of questions or comments. Follow us at PR Podcast Show at the BYB. We actually had the Florida the tailgate show.
They do not. Those guys do an excellent job. It's just seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, as a guy who was doing a lot of research regarding this, those guys do an excellent job down there. hysterical to listen to, guys who get it. So I'm looking forward to doing a little bit of bantering with you gents in the near future.
Yeah,
So this should be a lot of fun.
For that one, you can go to facebook.com/thetailgateshow.
And again, if you're in the NASL of all things, we're a second division. I mean, we got to stick together. We're all trying to aspire to do great things, and I think they should all. I think I'm going to try to equally hate all things. And the sad part is I'm a David Beckham supporter by default as my Man United, but I think I should hate the new team in Miami because of those guys.
Especially if they're going to be called the Miami Vice.
If that's really going to happen, I sincerely might disown him as a human being.
All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna every time I come on the podcast for like at least a month, I'm literally gonna have a linen suit that I'm gonna roll up, and I'm gonna be like, "He's looking at you guys."
You gotta have the hamburger coming out the top too.
I can totally do that. Let's do that.
Let's make that
Good
happen.
luck.
Yes. Oh man.
But no, yeah, you can make sure that you always tweet us. We're going to try to make this as interactive as possible.
Right.
Just a short little interactive break. Tell them about. You can go to youtube.com/permanent relegation if you're listening to this through iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud after the fact. So make sure that when we do announce another show that you're watching, because we're going to have the webcam up. We're going to have special guests. We're going to have people from the team on here, local celebrities, everything that we possibly can to make this as interactive as possible. And eventually, here at Chatham, the way it's set up, we'll want to have you guys come. We'll have people come and watch the show, be able to interact, hear it at the bar as well, because they got a pretty decent sound system here. And we're on a stage that has mic hookups behind us that we can just pump through the speaker system. So I think we've got a lot of opportunity to make this as interactive as Josh and you guys were wanting us to be. Because obviously, when we started to hear about this whole thing of like, hey, can you guys do a Brickyard Battalion podcast? We're like, well, yeah, sure.
I said, wait, why us again? And then I said, well, I mean, we're charming and sexy as hell, but I mean, why?
That's all the requirements were.
Right.
So, charming and sexy? Well, it's hard to get a good combination like that.
Bring your own mics.
Oh, anyway, you have headphones? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a playground with a game of baseball. Who's got the bat and all the gloves?
You would think that, right?
That guy's gonna play.
You'd think that, but seriously, I think part of it's chemistry too. So
Yeah.
We kind of work together. I think it's because it's the Cardinal connection to a degree. It's the telecommunications degrees getting put to work. That's what really matters the most. So
That's right.
it's because don't forget this thing. And Brady was in town this past week.
I hung out with him on Sunday.
You did,
Yeah,
and I did not. I failed.
Yes.
That's
I
who you
failed. I was
skipped my
supposed
dinner
to.
with. You skipped my dinner with.
I was supposed to, and I did not. So
Yep.
I failed.
Yeah, we talked about you.
I failed you, Brady. I know you're not listening, but I failed you because I was
He is
holding
listening.
two
Is
children.
Brady listening?
Yes, I told him.
I don't even know who Brady is, but damn it, you better be listening.
Brady is my former college roommate, and then a fraternity brother of Josh in the formerly Jewish fraternity at Ball State University.
That's correct, which is now closed by my own doing, I might add. So.
You closed the
Oh
fraternity?
yes, I did. I had no problem doing that. That's a story for another podcast.
That's a story for the Permanent Relegation podcast?
Yeah, that's one of the other side of things.
Right, cool.
Non-soccer related, random material. So.
Dude, my face. I forget that we are live.
Yeah, right.
I do.
This is amazing.
We do have some questions that have been coming in via the YouTube, and I want to make
All
sure I'm
right.
addressing
Go
them. So our
for it.
friends from
Do it.
Slaughterhouse 19, which is an affiliate group.
Slaughterhouse.
So it's one of the affiliate groups of the Brickyard Battalion as a whole, who do a great job. Peter Evans in particular, who leads up a lot of our TIFO and our chants, and was an excellent, I might add, capo this past week. Want to make sure I cover all the things those guys always ask for. I've not seen the Schlaps Cup logo, but now I have, thanks to you actually texting it to me momentarily ago. So thank you for showing me that.
I just saw it as well. Like somebody tweeted it.
Yeah, it's
Pat
really cool.
Cummings, yeah.
Pat Cummings, if you know anything about Pat Cummings, he's one. So he actually the scarf you showed earlier was Pat's work.
Oh, nice. Cool.
And so if I'm gonna give anybody some credit for that, it should be Pat. It was some fantastic work he does in regards all things in the 11. This question comes from Slaughterhouse 19. Is how will the supporter section be able to handle the sexy capo tandem of the 1.5 armed man and the 12-year-old with the mustache? And I know both those gentlemen very well, and I'd say based on what you did this weekend, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job.
You know what? And I gave Peter credit privately in text and email, but they did a great job of controlling a group that was really more than willing to get out of control potentially. So they did a great job of roping in the group and keeping them light and fun, and the chants were hysterical. Some of them worked out really great. And I want to give a shout out to my own 5-year-old son who played drums almost the entire time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sincerely. So
You put him to work.
Well, that's what you do when you have children, right? So in that sweatshop, you put them on drums.
My 2.5-year-old was just staring at the snare drum the entire time, going,
But he had his
my turn?
sweet ass leather jacket on, dude.
He sure did.
God, that kid's
pimping.
That kid's pimping. That dude's gangster. Anyway, so mine are a little older for that. I should probably just get producing some more. I need to follow suit. Like, I feel like I'm really letting down the city by not, like, really developing
Not throwing out some kids.
Yeah. And it took some convincing to bring the 5-year-old to the supporters section, right?
Yes.
So I would say long term, probably bad decision making based on this parent. But I must say, I have, those who don't know me, I have 4 kids, and I have a 2nd grader and a kindergarten who will attend most games with me in the battalion section because they have to learn stadium language early.
Yep.
And it develops them as people, right? That's what happens.
Sure. And my 2.5-year-old did the yes chant after the first goal.
And honestly, I'm not a WWE guy in any way, shape, or form, but that
great.
Chant is genius.
It's the Daniel Bryant yes chant. So it's just over and over, yes, yes.
Also known as the Diego Sanchez.
Oh, Diego
chant.
Sanchez was that good.
Yes! Yes!
Yes.
Nobody
we're very
at this
off
table
again.
besides you and I. You got that. But maybe somebody out there
10,
did.
11 viewers that are watching us on YouTube may have got it as well. But yeah, you could also comment on the YouTube section for any kind of questions. Do we have any more?
Another one is, will there be vegan options? And at the tailgate, my hope is that if I'm cooking, no. If others are cooking, absolutely. So we're trying to be inclusive of everybody we possibly can from the tailgate standpoint.
So it's BYOV.
Yeah, bring your own vegan food.
Okay.
It's very tough. We said we're trying to figure out the elements of the tailgating aspect.
Right.
They just announced the cost for parking. It ain't cheap. Ladies and gentlemen, it ain't cheap. And here's the thing too: is I don't want to develop a tailgate culture if there's not really there's someone wanting to be a tailgate culture. So
Well, I think if it does come up as an option, it could be somewhere else. It could be.
we're working on it. I
try to
said
get
we just don't know what it
somewhere-
looks like yet. So
Or like what like I guess we gotta try to figure out. And we can almost have like a live brainstorming session. The bars around IUPUI.
well, okay, that's quick. Ready?
Yeah.
Stack Pickle, which is a mile and almost a mile away.
Dude,
and
there's
then,
nowhere like.
And then
really
Loft
close.
Miller's, which is
Yeah.
closer to the Marriott. I mean, that's about your closest
Let's see what
options.
Google
Wait.
Well, you could have the basically
Bourbon
the-
Street's kind of
You
close.
could have the parade. Just
That'd
like
be one.
just
I mean,
like,
I think by the parade, you'd be like in this nice drum line, be over
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and like halfway through, be like, I'm just tired. Can we just take a nap? It's been 3 miles of walking.
and I'm already half drunk.
I mean, and we talked about those elements too. And again, like I mentioned earlier, the opportunity to watch and observe game one to really figure out what people want to do will really determine what we do long term. So we want to make sure we build something that's very cool and experiential for folks. But
It seems like a lot of it is going to happen organically. It's like whatever people are doing, you're just going to kind of jump on into that instead of trying to force, hey, guess what? This is where we're going to tailgate, be here at this certain time, and then that's where we'll be.
Yeah, originally we had thought we would, put have a section that we will be tailgating every game. You show up here, but with the cost of parking, that's going to be a different story. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are going to want to come down early. They'll probably want to park somewhere off-site and walk through. Maybe even catch a bus from somewhere. So those are things we're trying to work out. We would like to get a bus. We're working on that to come from either Chatham Tap or Union Jacks.
Yeah.
And so people could park here.
Will there be
drive
drinks
with.
on the bus?
that would be
They
the
they will
ideal
not-
situation.
They will
but
not be not allowed.
It would
Yeah.
not. Double negative. That's
Yes.
tricky, but I like it. I like it. Okay.
It won't be forbidden.
It won't be.
It won't be forbidden, but it won't be supplied.
So that's it. But I think what's really going to happen is this spring season will really be a lot of just, hey, let's see what happens.
Right.
Let's see what develops. We'll try to encourage different things if people want, see that that's kind of heading that way, and see what happens. But everything else has happened so organically. It'd kind of be dumb to force something now. I think we just let it happen and see what happens.
Right.
We can kind of set some things up and see if they don't work, they don't work. If
Right.
they do, they'll catch on. But I think offering a couple different options because the games are at 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. So people aren't going to want to get down there at 3 o'clock and and some people will. Some people will get down there at 7 and come straight home after the game.
Right.
I mean, that's a late on a Saturday, and if you're working all week and things like that,
Yeah.
I can hardly stay up past 10 o'clock. So,
But at the same time, I think we got to be very, very careful of projecting, of we're all family men. We'll say that. Family men, young kids, and it's one of those where we got to be careful because, we want it to be a family event, but we also hope, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be out there that won't be. So as I really like your point of let's just kind of see what happens. I guess if there's a need, well then great, let's do that. I think at this point it goes back to about 30 minutes ago. You're talking about we really have no idea what's going to happen April 12th. You know what I mean?
We do and we don't, right? So we'll meet with the team in the next coming weeks. Just lay out what we think will happen, how we think the march will work, all the different elements of the tailgate. I said, again, I had this conversation with Peter Evans the other day, just the fact that we need to sit back and watch how things are going to unfold because we don't know what people's behavior is going to be. Where are people really going to park? They might go, woof, I don't want to pay that. I'm going to park over at the Marriott, for instance. We figure out where people are really going to park. Where are they really going to walk from? What's the interactive experience going to be like? Where are people really going to drink at tailgate? Are they going to drink at tailgate? Because it might not be an important part of our culture. We just don't know what it looks like yet.
Right.
And I don't want to impose. To Gabe's point, I don't want to impose anything culturally on what we're going to try to create as a whole. I'd really like to see what happens organically, and then just foster it in any way, shape, or form to make it the best it possibly can be, so people get the greatest fan experience being a Hoosier. So that's how I look at it.
And what I've noticed already, just from the interaction from you guys off social media, even before the games, and then even at the game, at Saturday's game, there was never a point that I even thought that it was a elitist style of group. It's everybody. It was very open-armed, saying, it's like, hey, even if it was just random people walking by, it was one of those things where it didn't seem like it was too far out that the casual fan was afraid to approach.
I think we sang for 90 minutes straight.
Yeah.
We can take a breath. It's okay. I think we sang for 90 minutes straight. I'm not even kidding you. The break at halftime, I said, we played a lot of drums. That's all I'm saying.
The forearms got a good workout.
They did.
I think one thing that's a really good decision by Indy 11 and will help us a lot is the April 4th game. So the April 4th game with IU is going to be a test run for only season ticket holders. So it'll be a much smaller crowd.
Yeah.
But that will give us a huge idea of what this could look like, or what it should look like, or what people will want and how things can kind of play out. We'll kind of see the logistics of where you're going to enter the gates, or where people will come from and things like that. So I think that will be a big deal too. I think that's going to be a quick turnaround to get something set up for the 12th, but it's not uncommon for us to have 3 days or something to put something together.
Right.
So I think it'll happen. I think pretty much everything's happened so organically anyways that we're not going to try to force it anyway. So if the April 4th game shows that something really takes off, then
you still have a week.
Yeah.
You have a week that you can try to
exactly.
And I think Peter did a really good job when he posted out a lot of photos of different views around.
The views from the Brickyard Battalion section is you can touch the net.
He was
I think
like,
honestly,
no
keepers
zoom.
are going to hate us.
He's like, no zoom.
I think
He's
it's-
like, no zoom. This looks amazing. I'm
I mean,
like, I can't wait.
Keepers will hate us by default.
Good.
I think
Good.
I think
I
just
want them to
just-
come
If
into
you have not
Indy.
been out there, it's
Yeah.
literally no more than 4 feet is the
I
railing
want that
from the back
keeper
of
to
that.
hear us all game long, and I want him.
he's
want
going to
us in
hate
his
will
head.
hate
us.
Right.
And I think that's genius
Yes,
in terms
it
of
is.
marketing.
It absolutely is.
And
the
making
worst
that team
stadium
hate us.
as an opponent to play at is right here in Indianapolis. You don't want to be a keeper in the stadium. Why? Because the Brickyard Battalion are right behind you, at least for a half, and it's awful. It's just awful.
Well, and I think I've talked with Christian a little bit about what he thinks about, and he loves it. I mean, he can't wait for us to be right there.
I want
So we say
big head
Christian.
Christians,
Wait,
I want
when we
big
say
head
Christian,
Christians.
let's clarify. Not the
The wrestler?
No.
I know where you're going. with
Yeah.
this.
Christian
Not the
Nick,
religious group.
not the religious
Yes,
group,
not
not
the
the
religious-
affiliation. We're not trying to be a
Christians are
Christian
gonna hate
podcast. No.
So the Jewish guy just wanted to make sure that we're saying that not
I'm
not
not
Jewish.
I'm not
Wow.
Jewish though. That's a
Not
whole
gonna
story.
surprise
That's
you.
again a whole story in itself.
Oh, okay.
The idea is the fact to realize
Brady
that
gets that joke.
Christian, our new keeper, who's got a great relationship. He's done a really good job of connecting with the battalion as a whole. I think he just wants to drink at Gabe's house. I think that's what it comes down to. So, great human being, sincerely, and he gives us a lot of good feedback. If it didn't work, he would tell us. So,
I talked with him, and I went to school with Chris Way, so I'm pretty good friends with Chris, and I texted him after the game or the next day, and he coaches club, and I think he coaches 12 or 13-year-olds maybe, and his kids couldn't stop talking about it to him, about us singing. It was only 40 max of us.
Yeah.
And,
if that, yeah, let's say.
And I just keep telling people, wait until there's 2,000.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think that, and that's just our section, so hopefully that's not all that's just singing, Hopefully there's upwards of 7,000 or 8,000 people that are singing those songs. So,
right.
I mean,
and if you don't know what the songs are, they're all posted on SoundCloud. Our friends from Slaughterhouse 19 did a lot of recording. A lot of the chants that we actually created were the ones that Peter and the group put together, and were the ones we actually utilize every day. Peter and I talk about a lot. I don't have the time to sit and record this kind of stuff, so I'm very appreciative for the work that's been done on that, because it creates that culture we want. And Peter's been great about recording things he's not even comfortable with or likes necessarily, but they work. They work for us.
He has chance about grilled cheeses.
If we, preferably. Peter Wilt would enjoy that.
Yeah.
He might just really.
Isn't there a Peter Wilt? There's a Peter Wilt chant, and then there's also isn't there a Schlapp?
There's a Chris Way chant. There was the Pedro Mendez chant. I mean, to Gabe's point, Christian. A lot of them will be driven by the team players over time.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what fuels them, right? I mean, can you imagine 2,000 plus people singing your name when you're playing a game? I mean, that's what
I can sure imagine.
When you
my personal preference, the funnier the better. To me, you'll get me every time. So
when you think about, I mean, if you've been to Colts games, right? People hate coming to play the Colts because of how loud it is in that stadium.
Yeah.
We want that to be the exact same thing. We want people to hate coming to Indy because of how good the fan base is.
Right.
I mean, that's what it is, right? They hate playing the Colts because the fan base here is so good.
Right.
And we're well on our way to having that. I mean, as you mentioned, the international group of people that are here, I mean, that's a huge draw for us, and that's a challenge for us as well, because they're pretty tight-knit communities typically, and so if we can find those people that are willing to kind of head up those groups within that community, we want them to have their own affiliation, their own affiliate, but when they come game day, we want them to feel just as much as a Brickyard Battalion member.
One voice.
I have to chime in here because this is a rarity. This is a first.
I knew right.
You got a nudie.
Yes,
I knew right when I saw it.
Oh my God!
Did you get a nudie pic?
No,
it was for me actually.
It's
Nobody looks so disappointed.
It's actually from my wife, who is a keeper for a very very long time.
This we remembered.
Right? And she is a keeper.
Is that why you married her?
I did, because she was the keeper. Boom. Keeper at Butler, played for Carmel Girls. So I mean, it's really funny if you ever watch a game with her. What's really funny is she'll literally look at the best keepers and go, I don't know why they did that. That was just, and I just go, I don't know. Maybe I would trust the guy who's been playing for 11 years professionally, is rated as one of the best ever. But anyways, the first here is she actually live tweeted, which means she's watching. She's watching.
Watching or listening is a question. So.
Well, I don't think it matters. She's listening live because she actually tweeted. She goes, "Gotta give the keepers hell." I mean, that's huge about some of the keepers, right?
Well, she'll be going to the games, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean,
season ticket holders, absolutely. So
there we go. We'll put it directly on her to make sure the hell is brought.
Exactly. So, Annalise, you hear that? You hear that from these guys? Yeah. It's on you. 100%, it's on her.
Now, if she starts yelling at Christian, we'll have to correct her by default. Ma'am, that's our player. Please stop yelling at him. I know you're used to yelling at keepers, but please.
Speaking of the obviously the schedule, which I brought up the schedule.
Yeah.
What are when you initially saw the schedule? What are the ones that you were like, yeah, here we go?
I mean, with only 10 teams in the division, I have different feelings for different reasons. So. I can't take offense to anybody, but Cosmos by default just the historic aspect of that team and the amount of money they spent to start it, you have to want to beat them by default, right? By default, you want to beat that team because there's a lot of money spent there. As a Marcus said from
they're coming here second half.
Yeah, so we don't get them until the fall. We don't get them to the fall, but there's an opportunity for us to potentially go out there in the spring. We're putting that together. So our friends from Slaughterhouse 19 are putting together a bus trip for Atlanta. We're working on that together right now, and that Atlanta Ultras group is pretty interesting as well. I'm not saying they're out there looking for trouble or anything, but they've been interesting in regards to the way they've treated foreign fans, if you will. So,
well then.
And being where we would naturally be default foreign fans, I don't know how we'd be treated down there as a new team, but a little bit of concern there, I guess, to a degree. But really, I mean, like I said, a lot of things will happen organically, right? Who are our rivals? We'll figure that out as we move forward.
It's hard for me to look at Atlanta's name and just, I mean, it just
Silverbacks. It's awful.
It is.
I mean, there's some. I mean,
want to bring up our favorite meme over and over and over.
Oh yes.
There's some that team name lacks.
It's awful. Right.
And no, you know what though? But in fairness, I'm sure they look at Indy 11. They probably laugh at us historically.
But they don't know.
So.
But they don't know. I'm
They're not our team, though. They're not our team, though. So much I'm sure they say that they're not our team. So.
Well, I guess. I mean, ours has some roots. So, and yeah,
Ours
okay. You know what? And so let's do this real quick. So those that are watching, and you would really hope that most everybody would already know what the roots of what Indy 11 actually means. I mean, they're watching this. That's the reason why they're watching, right? But maybe we get some new people. Actually, we're going to get new people. We're going to get new people that are on here. So, as guys who helped bring this in, and you helped in this whole process here, so this is going to be so repetitive for you, but this could be something that makes somebody who is hearing the name and just goes, I just don't get it. It just seems really, really simplistic for me. Indy 11, I get it. 11 people soccer. Ha 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 ha. Why Indy 11? Why did they do this? Why did they do Indy 11? We know this, but give it to somebody who's new.
So
drop some science, Gabe.
Drop some knowledge.
So when Derek Ritchie, who's the Brickyard Battalion president, and I were at Peter, Will, and Tom Dunmore had asked us to come to dinner, and it was the day or two before they announced the name, and they had
By the way,
said,
I was also there, Gabe, for the record. I drank Miller High Life, for the record.
Josh was not there.
They dropped the knowledge on the teammate?
Where were we?
We did it in the conference room with pizza.
That's where you're wrong.
I will return to my flat 12 beer. I am not aware of this story.
Yeah.
Continue, Senor
Right,
Gabe.
there we go.
Senor Gabe.
Yes. I like that. That was nice. Yeah, just put him in his place. Just do
That's
this.
why we're friends, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Why don't you sit down over there while Big Boy, the guy with the big boy pants, has the microphone.
I was pretty sure he wasn't. That's why I was confused. Maybe he was.
You might have been drinking. I don't know.
So
Have another one of
But
those.
Peter-
Doom.
But Peter goes, he goes, so we've came up with a name because they had done the whole name poll, right? So they had asked for feedback. They wanted people to shoot out what they thought the name should be and vote on the couple choices that they had thrown out there as well. And one thing kept recurring over and over and over, and it was that some kind of tie to military history in Indiana was kept being referenced over and over and over. And so they had kind of just done some research of their own. One person, I think, had actually said Indy 11. Whether it was for the same reasons or not, no one knows.
I think it was.
It's an older lady. Of
Yeah,
some
Peter
sort
said
who
it was an older lady that worked at the War Memorial.
Yeah. So that's who they ended up talking to, right? So they went to the War Memorial. They were looking around, and this lady just started giving them all this knowledge about the 11th Infantry, or the 11th Regiment, and they had just it was just one of those things. I think it just clicked. It was like that's it, and I don't think it took much more than that. Everything kind of fell into place. They were looking for different reasons for 11, and there was just a number of things that added up. The Brickyard Battalion was started in 2011. There's 11 players on the soccer field, obviously. There were 11 rows of 11
in
in
the
the
Indy
Indy
500.
Indy
I mean,
500.
there's so many 11 references tied to the team. It's kind of pathetic at this point. So
So they after they had kind of thought, well, this is probably it, and they had went back and thought of those 11 references, and they were just pouring in. To them it just added up. And when I first heard it, I kind of probably had the same reaction most of us did, and it was like, really, Indy 11. But once you hear the meaning of it, you do get tied into it. And after a couple days, I was full on. I was going to be on board no matter what the name was. It didn't really matter to me, but I did want to like the name. You know what I mean? And so a couple days after I heard it, after I kept thinking about it and thinking about the references, I was pretty full on, engaged into the name. And so I think when you don't hear that, like you said, it's kind of too simplistic. It's too, because everyone initially says it's 11 people on a soccer field, right? Obviously.
Right.
And so knowing that there's a bigger meaning than that, and I thought Indy 11 had a huge task ahead of them of educating those people of there's more to it than just the 11 players on a soccer field.
Right.
And they came up with that infographic. I don't remember if you guys remember it, but it was basically explaining the name.
Yeah.
And it did a tremendous education for people,
Right.
and it really hit home with a lot of people, I think, pretty quickly. And
Right.
it changed people's minds pretty
Right.
fast.
Right, because it has a huge historic impact, and it's something that's when you just listen to the name, you would just overlook. Once you know it does, it has. We go all the way back to right at the beginning of this, where we talked about what Indianapolis means, and how it's changed and all that, and and we talk about that we want these games to be community, and we want to step up, and we want to be those people that make this different than anything else. Well, it's the same deal as the whole name of Indy 11 is the same principle. We're going to step up. We're going to fight for this cause. We're going to fight for this because you know what? We've dealt with multiple teams that have come and it wasn't ready. Soccer teams. And now we're at a point we're going to fight for this. And we started with a grassroots organization with you guys. And you know what? And we're going to build this up. We're going to do this. And I think it's huge. I think that it all ties together where that name honestly fits exactly how this organization started. And you literally could not pick a better name. And unfortunately, there's going to be people that still don't understand what that name means.
Well, and haters are going to hate.
Haters going to hate.
Haters going to hate.
I think there was maybe one potential better name, Racing Indy FC.
Because
might have capped it.
And it's funny, Racing Indy FC was something we championed because of the historic
Well,
aspect.
it's on the what was it? The original
scarf.
Yeah. Brickyard Battalion scarf.
And I can't reiterate enough how just completely geeky and nerdy it was to be part of a group. I mean, granted, social media is awesome because it puts people together who have weird likes, right? And those of you who are into My Little Pony and other things in the world, you have a community now because you have other people on Facebook who like the same things that you do, right? So, but put us together as a group. And allowed us to start talking about the idea of having a team here. And I think I've told you guys a story before. It started in this establishment we're sitting in currently, with Peter Wilt tweeting he was in Indy and me asking him why, directly back on Twitter, why are you in Indy? He says, would you meet me for a beer? And I was like, absolutely, and that's where we ended up. So I think I've told that story before, but that's how I got myself involved in all this craziness and all these folks that we have now known as the Brickyard Battalion. Because that interaction and because of my interaction, because of the Jay DeMerit story, the movie coming out and try to coalesce the soccer community yet again there to come people watch that. It was in Noblesville, if I remember correctly. They actually showed the movie. So we went to that movie, and that's where I met Jared Skinner and Brett Corbett for the first time, who were part of the Brickyard Battalion. Jared, who's now semi-retired, if you will, from the what we do every day, but a great human being. And that's how I got myself wrapped up in all this. And if you were to think from 2011 to now, all the work that's been put in, I mean, it's been ridiculous. It's a lot of heavy lifting, surprisingly.
I want you to kind of expand on that too. You guys have the core members of. You were one of the originals, Gabe, right?
Josh and I both.
You guys both were one of the originals. How many people started the movement?
I mean,
So I joined in much later, though.
Okay.
And not too much long
kind
after
of-
me, though. Really.
I was involved on the other side, right? So I wasn't on the board. I wasn't on the leadership. When I joined the Bring MLS to Indy page, when I joined, there was about 50 people max, and it was pretty new. But there was a couple of my friends that liked it, and I just thought, well, I have nothing.
And
to
what year was
lose,
this?
right?
When was this?
This was in
Do you
probably
remember?
2011.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
all
Oh, really?
2011. Seriously,
Oh,
that's when I
wow.
met Gabe.
Okay.
So
Okay.
And then at the end of 2011,
close
I
to.
think it was the end of 2011, I had been working with who I actually work for now,
Yeah.
doing some merchandising stuff on a totally separate thing. And I thought, well, I think I have an outlet to help the Brickyard Battalion really get into some merchandise and sell some merchandise to get the name even out there more. And so being able to do that, I think, got me involved pretty quickly and pretty heavily, even though I didn't really know what I was getting myself into.
Right.
I mean, I just wanted to help grow the cause, because at that point we didn't even have Peter Wilt coming around, and so we just were selling shirts to people who wanted to,
Wanted to wear them?
yeah.
And just
I mean,
be
we had Brickyard Battalion shirts that were all green. I mean, everything was green, right?
Yeah.
Because it was green, black, and
Yeah.
and white mainly. And so, being able to do that gave us a ton of a boost. I mean, I think in the first 2 or 3 months we sold like $3,000 worth of merchandise. It was crazy, but there was such a demand for it already. Just how can I tell someone else about it? So if I wear a shirt and someone asks what it is, that's,
Well, and it is that club. It's that club member, that club mentality of you see another person walk. If I see another person walking around with either an Indy 11 shirt on or a Brickyard Battalion shirt on, I want to go up to them and just talk to them, ask what they're, as long as they didn't buy it from like Goodwill or something, and they just thought it was cool. Kind of ask him why. Who are you?
I say if you see green, black, and white, those guys have been there since the very beginning.
Those are OG.
Which is kind of cool. I mean,
OG
to a degree.
BYB.
I mean, and back to the story, which I thought I was interjecting myself into, which I wasn't at the summer noodle story.
You elitist bastard.
We did have a meeting soon after that with Indy 11 at the offices in regards to unveiling the name to ourselves as far as the Brickyard Battalion goes, and I think for sure. At first, there was mixed reactions because I first say, as a group, we were really, really tied to racing Indy, right? That was the we thought would be the right fit. And if you look at, I'm sure a lot of the feedback, it was really, really a great fit for the city. We loved the idea, and I could see why the Indy 500 and our friends over at the on West 16th Street would probably have to take issue to that, right? So,
Right.
To no fault of their own, because they had to protect their own intellectual property, which I don't blame them. Therefore, become Indy 11, and it took a little bit of a sell job for some of us, but I mean, we love the idea of being so tied to the city. So, I got to drink free Miller High Life, eat pizza, and learn about our team name. So, and so for me, it took me a while to adopt it, but I said it took the reference for me, and this hasn't been referenced at all tonight. The reference to Spinal Tap. You're gonna turn it up
to 11.
You gotta turn it up to 11, right?
Right.
So for me,
some kind of Spinal Tap song during the games, I'm gonna be really
exactly. I made that reference to Peter and to Tom as well. I'm like,
Yeah.
the Spinal Tap aspect put me over the edge. It's like, okay, I can attach myself to that, and I'm good moving forward. And I've been an adopter ever since. But we do have another tweet come in. So
Oh, yes, we did have another tweet
from our good friend Andrew. So
Andrew wants to know, completely soccer related.
So hold on, just as a side note to this, I went ahead and forwarded this on to our guy Trezin.
Will.
Yes. Yes, Will, because being the wrestling guy that he is, I wanted to know what he thought about this as well. And so, as I'm waiting on his response, if it comes in, I'll tell you. But so
Andrew's
the question
is
and who is Andrew? Andrew is
Andrew Retz. Is AJ Retz
Right,
at
from-
AJ Retz?
American Outlaws,
Yeah, American
founder
Outlaws.
here in Indiana,
yes,
great guy.
Absolutely.
He wants to know, will Daniel Bryan leave
The only question he has
WrestleMania?
tonight.
And if you
The
think about
only
it,
question.
important question, really.
Right, it is.
I can answer this one.
Okay. Will Daniel Bryan
Will Daniel Bryan leave WrestleMania, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion?
No.
I'm going to say yes.
You think so?
Excuse me, I didn't hear you.
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. Yes.
Yes.
I had to be the antagonist here just because.
he's got a bit of an uphill battle, but I think he'll actually win it.
I think the correct answer again is
Yes.
yes. Exactly.
So yes, yes,
Right.
I do think that he'll probably win the World Heavyweight Championship for fake wrestling. But anyway, one of the questions, and I want Josh's input on it as well. But we've talked about it's pretty much a volunteer group. It's a nonprofit. You guys aren't getting paid really for the work that you put in.
No, not getting paid, right?
Not even the really part, just not getting paid. And it's the amount of work that you guys have done since the beginning to now, and it obviously keeps ramping up.
And they keep full-time jobs, and they have families. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing, when do you sleep? No. So, anyways, back to
2 and
Andrew.
4.
Yeah, you're
Back
up
to your
really
question.
early. There's some
Yeah, dude,
emails that get from you.
Jesus.
They're like 3:30 in the morning. I'm like,
What the hell is this,
doing? Go
dude?
to sleep, dog.
And I get them in Mexico, and for whatever reason, so Mexico by Playa del Carmen. So here's the deal. So we observe daylight savings time here in March. They don't do it till April 12th. They're in Central Zone. So not only were we 1 hour ahead, but then we jumped way ahead. We're literally directly north of Cancun / Playa del Carmen. Like, there's no east or west difference. But we were 2 hours behind. And so, like, yeah, to your point, there'd be times we get stuff 2, 1. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Like,
It's all right,
I get
as long
it.
as
All right,
the
Still
conversation's there. So, but the amount of work that you've done, and I guess kind of enlighten people the amount of work that you're doing going forward. What kind of plans you have, and how many people are actually currently working on the leadership team of Brickyard Battalion?
Well, I think, I mean, that's kind of I don't even really like to use that term because there's so many people that are out there doing things to help it grow that it would be pretty retarded of us to take responsibility of it. I
There's
mean,
a couple awesome guys doing a podcast, I think.
Seriously, I mean,
we do put in a ton of time. It's I mean, that's not a lie at all. I probably put in 20 plus hours a week on Brickyard Battalion stuff.
oh well.
But
Yeah.
that's not.
Wow.
I mean, I could do that all day long, but if we don't have other people out there doing their part, it's not going to go anywhere, right? So
It doesn't feel like a waste for you.
yeah, not at all. And I wouldn't even do it if I didn't think that I'm helping, or at least hoping that I'm helping this be a success and sustainable. I mean, I don't want it to be a success for one season or 1 year.
Right.
I'm doing this because I have a vision when I have kids and they're 20 years old that I'm taking them to the games and I'm still a season ticket holder. That's what, I have friends that are from England or from somewhere, and their families have been season ticket holders forever. That's what I kind of want, and that's what I kind of hope that happens is I'm a season ticket holder forever, and my kids, grow up with that. I mean, that's what I want, and that's kind of the long-term vision that kind of motivates me to put in the time now because, I hope I'm only doing this for a year or two and somebody else steps in. That's kind of the
it's hard. It's
that's
hard.
kind of the plan is there's always new people stepping in because we also only have so many ideas we can come up with. We can only make it so good. Well, when you have other people coming in, they've got new ideas, new technologies, or whatever it is. That just only makes us continually better. It's kind of with any board or anything like that. You serve your term, which is typically 2 to 3 years, and then you move on, and then and somebody else steps in, somebody else makes your organization better, brings in new ideas. So that's kind of the goal for us too. I mean, we're no different. I hope to be part of it, and I'll be a lifelong Brickyard Battalion member, even if I'm 90 years old.
Yeah.
But I hope other people take leadership roles and take. We've had some affiliate leaders take some great roles, like Peter Evans with Slaughterhouse. I mean, he's done a great job. We hope some of those guys step into a bigger role and continue on. Some of them probably won't. They'll want to just stick with their affiliate and that's it. Some people know what it's going to take to step in and don't want to. But there will be people that want, that especially once the season starts, that want to get more involved, and those people will pick up quite frequently. And so, getting those guys involved is going to be a huge thing for us because then it will lessen the time that we have to put in individually now.
Yeah.
And it's a much bigger collective than any of us could take credit for sure.
I mean, in the board itself, I mean, Justin, myself, Derek, Gabe, Daniel, God, I'm saying, who am I missing? Ryan, Jaron,
Ice Master over here.
Peter. I mean, there's so many folks trying to contribute in different ways. It's a lot of heavy lifting by a few people, and it's, like I said, come April 12th, that will change. People's passions will be stoked, and there'll be new people trying to step up and be part of the larger group, which is fine. It's what we expect, and we hope to have happen. So
to wrap it up, let's just rehash what we are trying to do up until April 12th. What events are going on, what kind of things people can do to get involved up until April 12th, and then we'll kind of cover what's going on once the season starts as we get on, because we're going to do this as often as we can. To talk about games, to talk about everything. We're going to do. Chris and I will do our part to represent you guys as best as we possibly can. You guys obviously will have as much
way possible.
yeah, right.
And it'll be okay.
Yeah. Put Josh's name on it.
Gabe isn't nearly as supportive as you are there, Josh.
I have faith. I have great faith.
But it's one of those things where we are going to do our part to be a voice. Hence the voice of the Brickyard Battalion, is to be a voice for the supporters, so that we want feedback from the supporters group as well, not just the leadership team. Everybody's that's listening, everybody that is participating. This is for Nate.
Nice. That was good.
Nate Sprinkle from the team wants me to pick my nose when I read it. So
nice. All right.
But so yeah, I'll go knuckle deep. But anyway, so I want, and I know that this is what you guys want as well from recruiting us, is we want the interaction from the. How many members do you guys have?
About almost 2,500.
Okay, so from the 2,500 plus members that.
And the 9 on YouTube.
And
Who've stuck it out to an hour and a half, so God bless them all.
Yes.
So.
But some could have dropped and came back on and all that kind of stuff. But
only 4 of them are us.
yeah, right. We got 2. One right here. But I think the biggest thing is we want that feedback. We want to know what we can do to make the show better, just like how you guys want to know what to make the experience better. So what kind of things are coming up for the supporters, for people that are interested in wanting to be a part of this, the games, the exhibitions, any kind of exterior stuff too?
Well, we've got March 22nd coming up this weekend for the trip to Louisville. We've got a bus sorted out now. I think there's 33 seats available on the bus, so there's less than that available now. Daniel Eccles is overseeing that, and he has posted on the Twitter account a couple times today of his email to email him if you're interested. And then we'll have the April 1st game at West Lafayette with Chicago Fire, and then the IU game April 4th. So those are the 3 games coming up. I also saw something on Marquette's had posted today, a game with Indy 11. I haven't heard a date on that yet. And then I'm guessing that will be maybe the 6th or 7th. There's not too many dates in between there that they can hit. And then also, we're going to be planning a couple events where Brickyard Battalion Gold members can pick up their scarves and cards, and then their signed picture as well. Those will be coming up and announced in the next week or so. And then also, I'm sure we'll have some, another event or two just to get together and hang out. And hopefully get some traction with these games. I think especially the April 4th game would be a big step for us to get a good chunk of the people that are going to be in that.
Because that's going to be, section. That's going to be here. Yeah. That's at the stadium, just a week before.
Yeah.
A week before the season starts.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's that big trial run of going, okay, here's what it's going to look like, to the point where it's going to be a little bit more filled out. That follow because it's only you said it's only season ticket members, right?
Season ticket holders only. There's 7,000 available tickets. I would imagine, hopefully 4,000 or 5,000 of those people will come to the game. So I think there'll be a good crowd. I think people want to know what that experience is kind of going to be like before they hit the first game anyway. And so I think April 4th is a Friday anyway. So that would be a good day to kind of hit, to get people involved. And people will probably come, stay downtown after work or come downtown after work and then kind of go to the game. So I think there will be a decent crowd. I think it's $11 a person. I don't know why they keep coming up with $11.
I don't know. It's weird. And how weird was it that we scored in the 11th minute of the game on Saturday?
I didn't even notice that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I guess too, in terms of other involvement, I mean, TIFO, things that we'll be doing in the near future, we're gonna need people's involvement in that too, because that's a heavy lifting kind of scenario where everybody needs to pitch in on that. In terms of creation of that, those who know what TIFO is, it's the big, wonderful banners and things that we put the supporters in. We're gonna need bodies, help, paint, come be a part of that. So it's kind of arts and crafts hour, if you will, to come be part of these things.
A drunken arts and crafts hour.
I mean, they're not. They require time and space and a lot of commitment, so things of that nature. And then obviously too, if you're not familiar with the chants, they're posted on SoundCloud through Slaughterhouse 19 and also posted on our website, brickyardbattalion.com. If you want to know and you want to participate, go and learn the chants now. We've been, obviously we'll be previewing it across every game that we do from here on out, but we want to make sure people take the opportunity to go out there and learn.
And aren't you guys handing out?
We hand out chant cards
chant cards.
every single game that we possibly can. This last game in particular, we handed out 125 to all the different fans. Of the 600 people that were there, 125 of them had a chance to get a chant card.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. And then, of course, we want to make sure that we have an open invitation to anybody that wants to come down to Chatham.
Yes.
We're going to start doing this probably every other Tuesday. So 2 weeks from today, we're going to do another episode. Work on, giveaways, like we said at the beginning of the show. Different events to get people. I know that the lovely folks at Chatham said that they might have a drawing for shirts, scarves, gift cards, things like that directly through Chatham.
We'll also have game day tickets to give away as well.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're
in the battalion section of it.
Yeah, you're subscribing to
just
our
a way to
YouTube
underplay
channel.
that. Just, we'll also have
might be
game day
available.
tickets in the battalion section.
It takes a special person to sit with all of us idiots.
does.
And it
That's
really
very
will.
true.
And I say that because our job is to bring the noise, bring the nonsense to the game, right? So everybody sits in our section has to be committed and has to be into it. If not, we'll miss the opportunity to really deliver for the culture we're trying to drive for culture for soccer in Indiana. So
Yeah,
we
and
want to
then,
make this thing as sustainable thing as possible.
so Twitter is at @the_BYB.
Yeah.
Our Twitter is at PR Podcast Show. Of course, at Indy11 for the team. We'll be live tweeting during our shows all the time. We'll be trying to promote as much as possible through the Brickyard Battalion Facebook page, our Facebook page, both Twitter pages. Indy11's been really good at retweeting stuff, and Tom has said that he's going to try to promote the show as much as possible.
Yes.
We want people here at the show to interact with us, talk to us a little bit about soccer. We'll have guests on, big guests every time. Starting with the biggest, as these two guys made
Yes.
sure that they made their appearance.
Yes.
Psych.
Hey, two other things I wanted
Yeah.
to add
Oh,
too
yeah, sure.
is on the brickyardbattalion.com, you can also go on there and fill out a form to join a list of volunteers. So when we
Okay.
need volunteers for things, there's going to be
Arts
things
and crafts
at the
and
game.
such, right?
Yeah, arts and crafts, putting beads on strings.
I want to make a popcorn necklace.
But when we need, people to get
Right.
involved at games and different things, then Josh is kind of overseeing that group. The other thing is I wanted to give a shout out to the book Love Thy Soccer. I don't
Okay.
know if you guys have heard of them or checked them out. It's at Love Thy, Thy Soccer is their Twitter handle. But it's a guy that's writing a book on.
As we all go to our phones right now and our computers, look them up. Well, you're about to get some
What's- yeah, what's
follows.
It's on the fan experience of how the fans are recreating American soccer, and so Derek and I had both been interviewed for the book, so I think we'll be in there somewhere. But
There it
they
is.
wanted to know about the Brickyard Battalion and the Crocketeers were in there, and there's some other groups that were involved. So definitely check them out and support they're doing a crowdsourcing to get the book printed. So check that out. I'm sure their
Followed.
information.
Done.
Yeah, I'm sure their information is on there of how to contribute if you're interested. So check it out. I think you get there's different ways to contribute, and then you get a sneak peek at chapters and things like that.
That's
So
pretty cool.
check those guys out.
Their Twitter literally says, "The fan rewrites the book on the American game everywhere, USA."
Yeah,
Just
good.
bring it all. That's just good.
And that's one of the things too that it's going to be really good for. I think Indianapolis soccer, just soccer in general in the United States, is that our first season is going on. With World Cup, all the World Cup stuff.
As a foot.
Yeah,
exactly.
as that kind of leapfrog on top
Yep.
of that. But we're gonna wrap this up. Thanks everybody for
Thank
listening
you.
and
Yes.
watching on YouTube.
Thank you guys for
Yes.
for invoking.
It's always good to talk to you
For
guys.
us.
This is day one of hopefully day 1,000.
And Chris just ordered
Seriously.
shots.
I did.
Oh,
I had to do this
fantastic.
as a this is kind of the inaugural.
Oh, he's coming back.
Yes,
Yeah, and
he
also
is.
thanks to you guys for doing the show. I mean, it's it's good. I hope we have some, just Brickyard Battalion members come in and are
Yeah.
a part of the show every
Right.
week, hopefully.
Right.
And so, that's why we wanted to do it. We want it to be, we do some of the background stuff, but we're just as much a regular member as anyone else. So.
So you're not elitist, is what you're saying.
Try not to be. I mean, shoot, man. I said we're trying to be for the people, man. Seriously, what we're trying to build is not about ourselves or ego or anything else. I could very much easily give myself to sleep back with a guy with 4 kids. Trust me.
Of course.
For me, it's about can we deliver as a group the best fan experience, period, and put Indiana on the map for everything that we do. And I just don't know if we can do it. I think we can. Go ahead, please, sir. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. You
There you
can't.
go.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
it's
After
so
every goal,
awesome.
it's going to be awesome.
I did,
Yes.
seriously.
There you go.
Daniel Bryan Chant is now officially part of our
He's going to come to games.
So.
We're going to get him to games. He's going
Now to make a phone call.
Yes.
to WWE.
I got it.
Can we get you to a game, sir?
He's just come out there. Yes.
Let's just record a video after a game, and then we'll just tweet it at him, and
Yeah.
he won't have a choice.
You won't have a choice.
Exactly. Done. That's it. That's
All
our
right,
goal.
there we
All
go.
right.
I think that should also be the intro and the outro to this.
Yeah. Oh, it can be. I can make it happen.
Because we haven't
All right,
even
guys.
written. There's no outro or intro written as of yet. But
No.
Right.
But we will.
sincerely,
Hey,
make sure it's on
12.
camera. I don't know if you can see
11
it on
until I
camera.
die,
Cheers.
right?
What?
11 until I die.
11
Until
There
I
we go.
die. All right, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. First show.
Oh, but yeah, thanks.
Oh, that's what a bad decision tastes like. Oh,
Look at
Oh, yeah, Gabe's struggling. But no, yeah, follow us on Twitter, permanentrelegation.com, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud. You'll be able to download the episode. You'll be able to go to YouTube after the fact and watch us
Still
if
watch
you
it,
really
right.
want to see this hunk of massive
Raw.
raw meat.
of this yesness. Right.
Of the
Exactly.
yeah.
Right.
And really thanks to you guys again for it's
Thank
a
you for the
pleasure
live
always
tweets.
talking.
Thank you for the questions
Yes.
that we had out, which was awesome. I mean,
More
it was
of
good.
that.
I honestly did not expect for anybody to live question or to live
that's
tweet.
I mean,
and that was
seriously.
awesome.
I mean, and
Dude,
someone
high
granted,
five to that.
someone
right
were,
now.
okay, I'll give a shout out to obviously our boy Paul down in Fort Lauderdale, Kale from AO Indy,
Yep.
Justin was obviously part of the battalion. Guys from Slaughterhouse 19, I'm sure
Yes.
it's Peter that's probably out there tweeting and put it on there too. So thank you,
That's
Peter.
for you guys as well. Yeah.
Thank you guys for participating. Our biggest thing moving forward is how do we get more people involved? Get this information out to folks.
Do it.
Pass
We're
it
gonna-
around.
We're going
We've
to
got
call our folks
posters.
Indiana Soccer, everyone we can. We want people to know this thing exists because this is going to be the voice of Indiana Soccer is what I hope is that if you're a club team guy or if you're just want to know what's going on in the college scene or whatever it might be, the EPL, whatever you're passionate about, they're going to have an opportunity to have a voice on the show. So.
Hala Madrid. Oh, wait. Sorry. All right. I got it. All right, guys.
It's
later.
a one time.
Yeah,
one
done.
time. And I'll say ever so briefly, glory, glory.
Oh.
Man United. All right, guys.
Good night.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.